Right, so let's say you've got an interview coming up. For many of us, before long, nerves start to kick in, and then the worrying about whether you're going to make a good impression. The inner critic starts up telling you you're not good enough, you don't have all the skills you need, and on and on. So how then do you keep on top of your nerves? You stay calm and promote yourself well. In the first half of this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about how to use some quick and easy NLP techniques, which will help you get the nerves under control and improve your self-belief. And then in the latter half, I'll just cover a few general tips on handling yourself in this pressured situation so that you can perform well and ultimately give yourself the best chance of landing that job. Hello, Leslie Hornsby here again. Now, along with any number of psychological aids, NLP techniques are a really quick and easy way to achieve a mindset change and move you closer to achieving your goals, whatever they might be. And as usual, if this subject matter interests you, then all you've got to do is hit subscribe, because I post every week, and then you'll be alerted to more of the same. So why does being interviewed get the nerves jangling? I think it's all part of a fear of being judged, which to a certain extent, in this particular context anyway, you are, of course. There's a belief that you need to sell yourself as well as your skills, and that is absolutely the case. The first thing to understand is that, believe it or not, it's a fact that it's not just qualifications that matter, or even that the most qualified person usually gets hired. Those that are hiring, whether they know it consciously or not, tend to select people who are enthusiastic and confident, easy to relate to, and clear about what makes them a good fit for the position. It's no surprise then that a key skill in successful interview techniques is the ability to build rapport and connect, which often trumps competence. Something that might hold you back when choosing what to apply for is that you lack some of the skills mentioned in the job spec. Now, what I would say on that is, you don't always have to be able to do everything in the job description. Yes, you need to be able to perform key tasks outlined for the role, but it's likely that once you start a new role, you're going to have to learn new skills anyway. So if you know, say, about 75-80% of what's required in a job, then you should feel confident in your ability to learn more and don't hold back. Recruiters are simply trying to assess if you'll be successful in the role. For the most part, their remit is to hire people who are skilled, knowledgeable, motivated, and easy to manage, and don't usually expect you to be able to do everything. So all you need to do is demonstrate that you're resourceful and intelligent enough to figure out the rest. So with this in mind, when preparing for your interview, think about how you can show you've thought about how you'll succeed in the role. Part of making a good impression, being able to ask intelligent and pertinent questions, and also show that you're engaged and have properly considered the role. And as part of that, you need to really know the company that you're interviewing for. Check out their website if they have one, and look for things like mission statements, information about their culture and priorities. Now, it can help if you try to adapt your CV and use their career vocabulary when describing your skill set and in any cover letter that you may write. This is all part of rapport building. The key is to remember the saying that people like them. So for better or worse, that's how human beings roll. In order to succeed in an interview, there are various psychological tools that you can work on. So let's talk about neuro-linguistic programming. NLP is all about offering you ways to overcome the usual mental barriers that can blow you off course, not least when facing a pressured situation. NLP uses a lot of action-based techniques to help you positively change your thought patterns. Now, proponents of NLP believe that your reality, including how you speak and act, is filtered by your experiences, values, feelings, and beliefs. And why is it useful to know that? Because if you understand this, you can begin to control your perceptions and, when necessary, change the way that you see and respond to people and situations. In other words, you lead your emotions, not the other way around. One of the key themes about NLP is boosting confidence, helping you project a positive impression, build rapport, and create a sense of connection with others, even improve your ability to be persuasive, all of which becomes very relevant in situations such as interviewing for a new job. So first off, To combat those nerves, you can try anchoring. The purpose of this technique is to teach you to associate a positive memory with a specifically chosen gesture. So as you might expect, it's easier to master these things when guided by a coach, but it is possible to get there on your own with a bit of determination. With anchoring, the most useful memories to draw on in this technique are those from times when you felt strong and powerful. This kind of memory can be an extremely valuable and empowering resource on which to draw. So anchoring, by the way, is not as unfamiliar as you might think, since there's a pretty good chance that you may have already previously developed anchors subconsciously rather than intentionally. Now, having chosen your powerful positive memory, a coach would then encourage you to enhance it, make it more vivid, prompting you to access all your senses. So those would be the auditory, the visual, olfactory, that sense of smell, gustatory, that's your taste, and kinesthetic, which is touch. This is done to elevate the positive feelings the memory evokes, as well as make it easier to access and recall. Once this positive memory is clear and vivid, it's at that point you'd be asked to choose a particular gesture to find the most appropriate to associate with the memory. You should repeat the associated action with the memory any number of times, up to 6 and beyond. And once that association is fixed, the idea is you use the anchoring gesture when you start to feel a bit negative or you're nervous or unsure to change your mood or your emotion by evoking the positive memory using the physical anchor. Another NLP technique to try is disassociation. This psychological process enables you to look at your feelings objectively and see the situation from an unemotional, analytical point of view. So, for example, if interviews make you anxious, disassociation can help you separate your feelings from the interview environment and feel more relaxed. So to practice this, you begin by recalling a situation when you had negative feelings, let's say when nerves got the better of you. You then imagine yourself floating outside of your body and watching that memory from a distance as if you were an outsider. With the help of a coach, you can learn to reprogram your brain's response to the original experience. This is achieved by separating your mental picture with its associated feelings. So done successfully, this results in irrational fears and behaviour in specific contexts losing their potency, and as a result, they no longer trigger that feeling. On then to another technique called reframing. Reframing is designed to take a situation, whether negative, nerve-wracking, or just generally unpleasant, and alter your view to something positive. There's lots of ways to reframe. A couple of options are content reframing and context reframing. Content reframing lets you look at a circumstance or a situation and try to see it from a more positive perspective. So, for example, in an interview, you may go in feeling it's a me and them situation. As a more positive alternative, consider viewing the process as both parties seeking a collaborative, mutually beneficial outcome. After all, your interviewer's goal is to find the right candidate. They're not there to try and trip you up or catch you out. If anything, they want you to succeed as much as you do. Context framing, that allows you to view a potentially negative situation in a context that shows its positive benefits. Now that helps you see how something that seems negative might be positive under different circumstances. So as an example, rather than seeing an interview as a huge hurdle, view it as an opportunity to flex your interpersonal skills. So even if you're unsuccessful, you can choose to see it as good practice and something to learn from and improve on. So let me reiterate, people like them. And that is essentially the epitome of rapport. Now, in order to build rapport, do things like pay attention to how your interviewer speaks, observe their body language, the pace of their speech, other non-verbal cues like the level of eye contact, as well as phrases and word choice that they seem to prefer. Now, you can subtly then mirror these aspects of their communication style during that conversation. Of course, you need to be discreet when mirroring, otherwise it can seem like you're parodying them, and that's not going to go down very well. However, if you mirror well, you can create an unconscious bond between you and the other person, which is conducive to a very friendly and relaxed exchange. So a central theme in NLP is belief change, and it's a technique to help you change a negative, limiting belief into a positive, empowering one. Limiting beliefs are beliefs that you hold about yourself that prevent you from doing something you'd otherwise like to do. So, for example, if you believe you're not good at interviews, that kind of belief can sabotage your chance of success even before you got through the door, and in some cases could even stop you from applying for a job. How then do you change limiting beliefs? Well, one way is to challenge your presupposition or the underlying assumption that you've made about yourself. Now, we've all experienced failure in life, but, not succeeding once, it doesn't mean that you're a failure full stop. And by understanding your attitude, it has enormous influence in how well you do and is the first step to resolving a barrier belief. So first of all, you need to tackle the implications of the belief. And to do this, you could try asking meta-model questions. To find out more about meta-model theory, you can download a PDF that I put together that outlines the premise of this approach. Just download the link that I've added under the video. The idea is to reach a realization that the belief doesn't make sense, and then that begins to change the process of weakening or changing the belief. Having weakened the old belief, you then go about replacing it with something more useful. This NLP technique is somewhat more involved than, say, anchoring, and I would definitely recommend that you get some help from a life coach in order to master it. So I've talked a little bit about NLP techniques. Just to finish up, I'm just going to offer a bit of advice on interview techniques that you can develop to help you land the job. Behavioural interview questions, they're really common these days and you need to prepare for them. So try the STAR method. It's a good technique for preparation, especially if you tend to get nervous or flustered in an interview. The acronym stands for Situation, Task, Action and Result, and it helps you structure your responses to behavioural questions. So first you describe a specific situation you were in, then the task that you needed to complete, the actions you took and the results of your actions. This can be helpful when you're asked questions like, tell me about a time when you had to overcome a challenge, or give me an example of a time when you had to use teamwork. Try to make your examples relevant and specific in terms of outcomes, such as employee engagement increased by X%, or due to a training initiative I implemented, customer retention improved by 10% in the first quarter. Obviously, your responses need to be relevant to the experience and the job that you're interviewing for. It might seem obvious, but punctuality is important. If you get nervous, particularly it is, a good rule of thumb is to arrive about 15 minutes before a scheduled interview. This is going to give you time to de-stress and get in the right headspace. Now, while you can't predict every question you're going to be asked, there are obviously common interview questions that you can prepare for, such as tell me about yourself, or what are your strengths and weaknesses, and also, of course, why are you interested in this position. Preparation in this way is going to make a huge difference, not only to how it keeps your nerves at bay, but how you come across. You're almost certainly going to feel more confident, and also you'll be less flustered and lost for an answer during the interview. Now, don't forget about your body language so that you can project confidence. Think about maintaining reasonable levels of eye contact, sit up straight and adopt an open posture. It's about looking smart and engaged, so avoid crossing your arms or slouching in your chair. Most interviews end with an opportunity to ask questions, and this is your opportunity to get more information about the company and the position, and to show that you're truly interested. Don't make the mistake of not taking advantage of this moment. If you really believe that the interview has covered everything, then consider asking other questions, say about the next step in the process or something like that. When the interview is coming to an end, thank the interviewer for their time and repeat your interest in the position. This is a great opportunity to reiterate why you're the best candidate for the job and leave the interviewer with a good impression. Also, sending a thank you email after the interview is a nice touch. It's not necessary, but it's something you could do, and it shows that you're grateful for the opportunity. Just be sure to keep it brief and professional, and don't be too worried if you don't hear back right away. It may take some time because companies obviously are processing more than one candidate, and they need to make that decision. Also, be prepared to attend more than one interview, even if you've nailed it. As you might expect, it's likely that more than one person was interviewed, and the company is going to need to make sure that they make the best decision. If you follow these tips and techniques, there's a good chance that you will land the job that you want in no time. Just stay confident, be yourself, remember to ask questions, and go in with the mindset that you're interviewing the company as much as they're interviewing you. And before you know it, you're going to have that job offer in hand. I hope the video has been useful with tips on tackling interviews and on using NLP to find the right headspace. At its heart, NLP is about reprogramming your mind to focus on the positives and your personal strengths rather than negative things. And if you've aced an interview or maybe bombed horribly, it will be very interesting to hear about it. So please do share your stories and leave a comment below. And as always, if you'd like some one-to-one help, then by all means just get in touch. You can use the contact link I've added below this video to make a 30-minute appointment with me for a preliminary obligation-free chat. Don't forget about that free guide so you can read a bit more about anchoring and other NLP techniques. Again, I've added a link below to the PDF for that. Remember to click subscribe to get more videos I post every week. And in the meantime, thank you for your company. I hope you can join me next time with more help and advice on leading a more fulfilled life. Bye for now.